S.A. Gilari Window Cleaning proudly sponsors Nun-Time History, the show, making dirty windows a thing of the past.
Hello and welcome to something entirely new from the Nun-Time team. The team have decided that as much as we enjoy producing the little vlogs, we think we can give you more. Now, we're going to continue to produce our little vlogs, but what we are going to create here is something a little more magazine-esque. We're going to have regular features where you can get involved with the show. Features like, where is this? Some of you may have already been playing this. If not, let me explain what it is. We're going to show you a snippet from a photograph of a location in Bourne, and you have until the end of the show to figure out exactly where it is. We also have another feature called A Glimpse into the Past. There are many things in Bourne that have long disappeared, whether it's been demolished or whether it's been replaced. This is a great way of remembering the good old days. We'll be showing you what is there now and what used to be there. We'll also have a main feature, interviews, local stories from local people, and lots of interesting facts to share with you. And these are just some of the things we are going to bring to you on this show. So, without further ado, this is Nun-Time History, the show. Now, I don't know if some of you have been following my vlogs, but recently the Nun-Time team have begun a campaign to save Bridge 234. So far it has had a very positive response. There's been some great stories shared from many different people. We've had stories told of relatives who worked at the railway station in Bourne, to a generation who have fond childhood memories of playing on the bridge, and now their children are enjoying the very same bridge. So, I thought it would be pretty good to kickstart the show with Bridge 234 as the main feature. But before we do, I think it's time for, wait for it, where is this? Oh, that's a pretty good one. Look, coming up on your screen now is a tiny snippet of somewhere in Bourne. Can you guess where it is? You can play along by shouting at the screen. Obviously I can't hear you. Or you could write your answer down below. We'll reveal the answer at the end of the show. But now it's time for our main feature. This is Bridge 234, one of the last remnants of Bourne Railway. For some, learning that Bourne actually had a railway is going to come as a bit of a shock, especially when there are hardly any signs of it. It was a very busy railway with 4 main lines. The line that ran under this bridge was the Bourne to Saxby line. This is what the bridge would have looked like in its heyday. A fine specimen of a Victorian structure. Right now, this bridge sits in the middle of a fast-growing development area and its future is uncertain. What used to be an ordinary occupation bridge is now a bridge of huge significance. If we, the community of Bourne, allow this bridge to disappear, I think we do the memory of our Victorian ancestors an incredible injustice, sweeping their hard work aside like they never existed. Just up the way from here, which is now a farm, was the brick pit, and it was those bricks that went into the making of this bridge and many of the other structures along this line. Some may argue that there are other bridges like this in Britain, and they would be right, but those bridges aren't our bridges. This is our bridge. This is what the people of Bourne will look and say with huge amount of pride, this was our railway. You can learn more about our railway with one of Rex Needle's CD-ROMs. Its information should be scrolling by now on the screen. Now, the thing about saving something like the bridge is that it's a bit like painting the Humber Bridge. The job is never really done. An example of that is the Red Hall. This building has been threatened with demolition more than once. And if it weren't for certain people in Bourne, it would most probably have been demolished by now. And just because it's deemed safe now, it doesn't necessarily mean it won't be threatened again in the future. So we must continuously fight to protect our buildings and structures of historic value here in Bourne. I don't know if many of you remember the Chapel of Rest. It was very nearly pulled down. A group was set up to save it, and save it they did. But the story doesn't end there, because even though it is still standing, its future is very uncertain, and I think this is something we can talk about on a future show. But swiftly moving on, it's time for a glimpse into the past. In Bourne, we are surrounded by lots of history. Some we can see, like the Red Hall or the Wake House, but other parts of our history simply no longer see the light of day. In this feature, we aim to give you a glimpse into Bourne's past, and today we are looking at this particular area in South Street. This is just before the double bend opposite Jewson's Yard. A little clue to what was here can be seen on this new development. These stone buildings are appropriately called the Old Train Yard, and if you look just beyond the stone houses, you will see an old railway building. The railway line used to run from the Red Hall through Jewson's Yard, across South Road and then down Coggles Causeway. In the picture, which should be on the screen now, you should be able to see the railway crossing. Notice the building just to the left. That is the old signal box. There was also a metal pedestrian bridge which crossed over the lines, and to the right was a wooden goodshed which was taken down in the late 90s and beginning of the noughties. There were two lines, one running to Billingborough and the other to Spalding. Sadly, when the railway closed, there was no more use for the signal box and it was taken down. This is what the area looks like today. As pretty as this area can be with all the flowers blooming here, it's impossible to tell that a building quite significant to the town and its railway once stood in its place. There isn't even a tourist board informing the public of this area's past. One simply walks past unaware of its history. This appears to be a running theme in Bourne. There are similar signal boxes in Spalding, Sleaford and even in Deep in St James. I believe the one in Deep in St James was also under threat in recent years, but the locals have managed to save it. I always find it quite remarkable how busy this area was all those years ago, and it's always hard to imagine that we once had a railway that used to cross over this road, because looking there now, it's like it never existed. Actually, can you imagine if it was still there, if it was still about today? How different would Bourne be? Another question for you to ponder is this. Do you think Bourne would be better if we had kept its railway? Let us know what you think by leaving your comments below. I have to say, on another matter, when I was filming there, I noticed another planter on the opposite side of Coggles Causeway. I don't know if you've noticed them too. These planters have made Bourne a very pretty and inviting place, and it was even better during Remembrance Sunday. If you recall, there were silhouettes of soldiers in various places around the town. It was simple, yet effective. I have to say that for the past few years, I've been speaking out in ways we can make Bourne a little more inviting. I was thinking the town could have statues, a monument or information boards, but actually these silhouette boards will be a very good start. We can have a silhouette train at the Red Hall, a castle and Norman at the Wellhead, and a farmer with his cattle at the old cattle market. I believe if you make your town pretty and inviting, then people will want to visit the town. And if they're visiting the town, then they're most likely spending And if they're spending, then that can only be a good thing for Bourne. Have you got any ideas or suggestions how we can improve our town? If so, leave a comment down below. But I do want to say a big thank you to the organisers of the Silhouette Soldiers. I think we can all say how proud we were of their efforts. And we're not the only ones. Take a look at this.
I think whoever involved did a fantastic job in reminding us what our troops did for us 100 years ago.
Hi everyone, my name's David Snape and I do a local online show called The David Snape Show. What struck me most about the plantists that were all around Bourne back on Memorial Day is it's just how much of an impact it actually had. It was absolutely brilliant to see, and I think they do quite a remarkable job.
Have you worked out the picture from our Where Is This feature? If not, here it is again. Now, I'm not too sure whether you're finding this easy or difficult, so let me know by leaving a comment below. Okay, right, moving on. And now here is an interesting fact. This story was told to me by a Mr. Jonathan Smith when I was visiting the Red Hall grounds in December 2017. I don't know how true this story is, but I really like it to be. Does anyone know the story of the clock at the church? Now, I was told that the clock at the church normally faces towards the town centre. One will notice that ours does not. Apparently, the Reverend at the time wanted to raise money for the clock, but the town councillors refused to contribute. Since the Reverend had an affiliation with the railway, he made sure that when he did finally get the clock, it faced the railway station instead of the town centre. As some kind of snub. I mean, would a Reverend really do that? He's only human after all. I don't know how the fella up above would react to such an act, but sadly, we're approaching the end of the show. But don't be too sad, because there will be many more to follow, filled with lots of history, information and plenty of features. In our next episode, we'll be having an interview with John Baxter, Royal Observer Corps, a part of our history that was once the worst kept secret ever. Remember, this show is just to give you a little taster of our history in Bourne. If you want to delve further, then I strongly recommend purchasing Rex Needle's A Portrait of Bourne, or go to the Heritage Centre in Bourne, which is open Saturday and Sunday 2 till 4 p.m. Before we go, it's time to reveal where is this in 3, 2, and the answer is... If you got it, you win absolutely nothing, but thank you for playing. Remember, if you have any local history which you would like to share with us, photos or any other interesting facts about the town, then get in touch. The details will appear on the screen. I really hope you have enjoyed this very first show. Hope it's been entertaining as well as informative. And we hope you have been inspired to learn more about the town. Until next time, it's ciao for now.